G'day everybody, Masterbucks here. Welcome to another football/FIFA video where today I'm going to be discussing the players that I feel need to be upgraded in the upcoming FIFA. The football season has now wrapped up, or it's pretty much drawing to a close. We've still got certain games left to go, like the Champions League, maybe the FA Cup, depending on when the video comes out, and then of course the World Cup to come as well. But I can very comfortably say that we have seen certain footballers just going way beyond what we expected of them this season, and then a couple of unknown quantities just coming out of nowhere and just announcing themselves onto the world stage. And of course, correlating with that, every single time a player does have an amazing standout season, their player or their rating will soar in the next FIFA. And before we get this video underway, I've just got a quick question I need to ask you guys. Do any of you want $5? You guys have the chance to get 5 free bucks right now thanks to Swagbucks, a Masterbucks Swagbucks collab. It's a match made in heaven. Swagbucks is a website where you can earn cash and rewards such as Xbox gift cards and PlayStation 4 gift cards, all by watching videos, doing surveys, playing some games, and more. So be sure to click the link down below, sign up to Swagbucks to get 5 free bucks and to start earning some awesome rewards. Thank you very much to Swagbucks for supporting and sponsoring this video. So that is what I'm doing today. I've picked out a handful of names, and by a handful I mean I've got quite a fair few, but we'll go with some of the more obvious ones to get things kicked off. Beginning with this little Egyptian man, he plays for Liverpool. You may have heard of him. His name is Mo Salah. When Mo Salah joined Liverpool off the back of a pretty impressive season with Roma, nothing like what he had this season, but still impressive nonetheless, he was an 83 rated player. A sensational individual season later for Liverpool, the Premier League Golden Boot, beating out Harry Kane, being one of the leading goal scorers all across Europe this season, and maybe a potential Champions League winner as well. We are looking at the next maybe Ballon d'Or winner here. Really, it depends on who wins the Champions League final. If Liverpool do beat Real Madrid, then I think he's a lock for it, regardless of what happens in the World Cup, unless maybe Messi wins with Argentina, but I don't see that happening. But it's very obvious that Salah needs a massive upgrade in FIFA 19, and I'm thinking something along the lines of maybe a +6. I'm thinking like an 89. I might think that maybe that's pushing it. So I'm going to say 89, and maybe off the back of them winning the Champions League, that's what he'll get. If Real Madrid get the Champions League, if they beat Liverpool in the final, then maybe that could come into question and could determine his future rating for FIFA 19. I tell you what, this is what I will say. I'll make a bold prediction right here. If Liverpool win the Champions League, then Mo Salah will be an 89 rated player in FIFA 19. I don't think he'll get into the 90s regardless, but if they don't win the Champions League, if they get knocked, or if they lose the final to Real Madrid, I think Salah will end up as an 88. Because we put so much emphasis on titles and finals and all that stuff now. We really do. Honestly, whoever wins the Champions League is whoever goes on to win the Ballon d'Or. It's been like that for years now. He's only got about 2-star weak foot as well. I'm not saying he should be like 5-star or anything, but that definitely needs a bit of a kick up the arse. But yeah, Mo Salah, the most obvious person that needs an upgrade in FIFA 19. The next player who could definitely do with a bit of an upgrade next season, nothing as big as Mo Salah, but it's going to be Kevin De Bruyne. I think these two players were the best players in the Premier League by far. I reckon that Kevin De Bruyne was definitely Manchester City's player of the season. I know that they had a lot of great players, but De Bruyne for me was the one. You'll notice that there's going to be quite a fair few Manchester City players I think should be getting upgrades next season, but just quietly, I still think De Bruyne was at the very top of the pile. Kevin De Bruyne was 89 rated going into FIFA. Now that's a great rating, it really is, but I still think he's shown enough now to get himself into the 90s. And yes, I know that Mo Salah won Premier League Player of the Season, that he was the best player in the Premier League, and I'm admitting that, but I'm not saying he should be a 90. I feel like it's too early for him, if you know what I mean. And I kind of think that's relatively sound logic. Like, that's fine. We've seen Kevin De Bruyne now for the last couple of seasons show his class in the Premier League. And Mo Salah, this is only his first time out. We have to make sure that he can back it up before I say he deserves to be a 90. But because Kevin De Bruyne has shown once again that he can do it so damn well in the Premier League, and he just keeps consistently getting better, I think he can go from an 89 all the way up to a 91. I think that high. Not just the 90, like a 91 rating. He has been so damn good and just class for Manchester City all season long. So for me, I think he deserves it, especially since, in my opinion, he's probably the best midfielder in the world. And speaking of other Manchester City players, I'm going to get things rolling a little quicker here, but David Silva, another incredible midfielder backing up Kevin De Bruyne. If for whatever reason KDB didn't really rock up in a game, you'd always have David Silva instead. It was incredible. And then there's actually another Manchester City midfielder that we're going to be talking about not too soon as well. But yeah, David Silva was an 87 rated player in FIFA 18 this year. I reckon he's definitely earned probably about the same as De Bruyne, +2 upgrade, I would say, even though he's getting he's getting on quite a fair bit. I'm not exactly sure how old he is, but he's definitely in his 30s. So I reckon another +2 upgrade for him. I think an 89 rating would be pretty fair for for David Silva in FIFA 19. And the final Manchester City midfielder I'm going to talk about, I'm sorry if it seems like I'm kind of, for lack of, it's a bit vulgar, but kind of, wadding them off. Trust me. They have, so many players in this Man City team need to get an upgrade, but this midfield especially. Fernandinho. Do you have any idea how low rated Fernandinho was at the beginning of FIFA 18? He was an 82. An 80 goddamn 2 for the best defensive mid in the world. Yeah, I'm calling it. I say that he surpassed Conte this season. I can probably see Fernandinho going way up from an 82, maybe up to something like it's got to be in the high 80s. I'm not saying anything crazy, but I reckon maybe like an 85 to an 86. Something along those lines. I've got to commit to something. Let's say I'm going to go 80. I'm going to say 86 because I really back him up that highly. I really do rate Fernandinho so much. And I have a suspicion that maybe his pace won't be in the 80s, but I reckon every single other stat on his card should be up into the 80s, including shooting, including dribbling as well. I mean, he scored some absolute bangers this season, so surely there's justification enough for him to go up from the sort of mid-70s he was at last season or in FIFA 18 up to about 80 shooting in FIFA 19. If that is the case, we might be looking at the first player next season to end up getting an 80 rating in all of his stats. I reckon it very well could happen. Finally, moving on from the Premier League and Manchester City's midfield, let's go around the world a little bit. Let's go with Mauro Icardi, who I still think, in my opinion, is one of the most, even at this point, underrated strikers in world football. I really would not be surprised if we saw someone come in and try to take Mauro Icardi out of Inter's hands. I really do. 84 rated, that's what he was at the beginning of the season, and maybe that's okay, like the 84 at the beginning of this season, but nothing close to 84 is going to fly next season. I'm sorry, there's no way. Another just amazing Argentinian attacker. They're just overflowing with them in that nation, aren't they? They're just overwhelmed with amazing attacking talent. It's a shame that they don't have too many amazing world-class midfielders or defenders. But, I mean, what can you do? In FIFA 19, I can see Mauro Icardi getting around about an 87 rating, a decent upgrade, but nothing too higher than that. Next up, because I haven't done a defender yet, let's go on to who I personally think is the best right-back in the world at the young age that he is, and that's Joshua Kimmich. I rate this kid so highly, and I think I'm noticing a bit of a trend now where EA are really boosting the stats of certain fullbacks. Like the best fullbacks in the world get really high ratings now. So I think we've seen it with Marcelo, we've seen it with Jordi Alba as well. So the real top fullbacks get really high ratings, and I reckon this guy's right up there. So I'm predicting, not just off the back of an amazing season, but that as well, he'll be getting a really high rating next year. I'm honestly thinking about an 85. 85 for Joshua Kimmich. If Germany win the World Cup, could even make it an 86. I'm not even joking. I reckon, yeah, maybe, but for now, we'll stick with the 85 rating for Joshua Kimmich. Now for another young gun that I really rate quite highly from the Bundesliga, and this is Leon Bailey from Bayer Leverkusen. I'm thinking Leon Bailey is probably going to get something close to like I want to say 82. That's a +6 upgrade. That's a massive upgrade. But I genuinely think it could be more than that. I think maybe an 83. 83 maybe for Leon Bailey. So a +7 upgrade. I couldn't possibly say like 84. I feel like that's probably pushing it. But just the season he's had, I reckon Leon Bailey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to say 83. Now, this is one that I absolutely should have gotten to, I think, a little earlier here. But this is Nick Pope, the backup Burnley goalkeeper who had to fill in for Tom Heaton. And Burnley and their goalkeepers is like a goddamn hydra. You cut one head off and then you've just got another one that just pops straight back up. It's incredible. Nick Pope was tremendous this season and one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League this year. Nick Pope was a 68 rated player. That is magnificent. And I mean, he's so good. He's gone from being 68 rated. Not an awful lot of people in world football or Premier League fans really would have known who he was, to now he's bloody going to the World Cup. He's on the plane to Russia for England. But I know that from what we've seen of him this season, he probably deserves to be in the 80s, but I'm just going to rob him of it. I'm going to say a 79 for Nick Pope. That is pretty. I know it may be a bit harsh, but I'm going to go with a 79. I think he recently got upgraded in FIFA 18 from a 68 to a 75. So maybe that's not too unrealistic. Maybe we won't see Nick Pope at an 80 next season, but I reckon a 79 for me. We're just gonna, the absolute closest you can get before you're rocking in the 80s, but no. For me, I'm just gonna say a 79 for Nick Pope. I'm sure he'll take that, going from 68 to 79 in 1 year. That's damn impressive. And I'm just continuing to roll on with the Premier League players now, because we now move on to a Liverpool striker, Roberto Firmino. Now, this guy, even though apparently he's not a striker, and I'll be honest, I was in that camp as well for a little bit. I didn't know if it was going to work out, but it has worked out for Liverpool as well. He, Martinez, and Salah just running the fast break. It's just a scary sight for any defense, and Firmino's been class this year. Roberto Firmino was an 83 rated striker in FIFA 18, and he's definitely going to get up into the high 80s now. I'm not sure if it's going to be pushing like an 87 or anything like that. I'm saying an 86. I reckon Roberto Firmino, 86 for sure. His pace could almost do with a little bit of an upgrade as well. And he definitely needs 99 teeth as well. Still got a couple of players left to go. I'm going to start rapid firing through a couple of these now so we just get them out of the way. But the next one is James Tarkowski. We're definitely going to see a few Burnley players needing a bit of an upgrade. We saw Nick Pope before. Now it's this man's turn. James Tarkowski was just 73 rated, and for sure, he's got to be at least knocking on the door of the 80 as well. I don't know if he'll get up there. Maybe it's a 79 as well. Maybe it's another one of those things, another Nick Pope situation where he's not quite up there, but just so close. I reckon a 79 rating for sure is maybe the minimum that we're going to see him get up to. I think maybe a 78 is the minimum, but I'm calling it and predicting a 79 for James Tarkowski. And yeah, poor bloke definitely got... You'll probably see a few players left in this prediction that definitely got robbed of a World Cup spot for England. Another upgrade I can definitely see coming in Englishman's way is Harry Maguire. He was 75 rated at the beginning of FIFA 18. Definitely showed that he's got game and he's done very well for Leicester. He's got some very good solid performances under his belt and throughout this season. So from a 75 rating, I can see him getting up. Again, not up to an 80. You know what? I reckon out of James Tarkowski and Nick Pope and all the guys that I've given 79 ratings to and just robbed them of an 80, I reckon Maguire is probably, out of all those lot, the most likely to maybe crack into the 80s, but I still don't see it. I still think maybe just finishing as a 79 as well. I love giving out 79 ratings. I'm just robbing these boys of getting into the 80s, but no, 79. Hey, maybe, how about this? He won't be a non-rare anymore. He'll be a rare 79. If that's anything, I hope that helps. And the final player that we're going to cap things off with will be Wilfried Zaha, a guy that is, again, I've said this before, and I apologise, Crystal Palace fans, way too good for Crystal Palace. Yes, he was picked up by Manchester United from Crystal Palace. It didn't work out for him there. Maybe he went too early, ended up going back to Palace, and he has thrived for them since. Well, now I can see him maybe not going back to Manchester United, but definitely somewhere, because Wilfried Zaha is another baller. From an 81 is what he was rated at the beginning of FIFA 18. I can see Zaha, I can see a nice high rating in his future. High 80s, I think it's out of the question. 85 up, I don't see it, but again, knocking on the door. I'm thinking like an 84 for Wilfried Zaha. Maybe even that's probably pushing it. There's no way he's getting up to an 85, but I'm gonna do it. Only because I rate him really highly, 84. And because I reckon he's probably going to end up getting a transfer to a nice big club, and that always helps as well. But there we go. Finally finished with all the players, or maybe not all, but just some of the players I think definitely deserve to be upgraded into FIFA 19. I'm most likely going to do a video opposite to this, where I go through players I feel like need to be downgraded. That is just begging to fucking get disliked the shit out of, I know, but it's something that I'm assuming most of you guys would be interested in. If you are, let me know in the comments. But we are done for this one. Have a good one, everybody. My name is the Master Bucks. Do not forget to like and subscribe. And until the next video, have a good one. Bye-bye.